welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah. This is Nova, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks. I am very, 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 very excited about today, for reasons I will tell you in a second. But first, if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, or you're looking for this sweet pea on the interweb, you can find me as The Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook, on The Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to chat about the podcast specifically, please shoot me an email. That is the best way to get a hold of me. My email address is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Ooh. The baby's on the floor. How long will this last? I don't know. She's got to go to bed in about 10 minutes. So, we're just making it. I'm trying to record the podcast because she only sleeps for an hour. I have many, many, many things to say about how wonderful y'all are. To everyone who watched the last episode and gave your support, I'm going to say thank you in detail at the end of this episode, but I will never be able to get through the beginning of this episode if I start talking about that right now, because I will start crying. And once I start crying, see, I'm already getting emotional. Like I'm not gonna be able to rein that in at all. And we do have some yarny content to talk about. So we must talk about the yarny content first. And I have something exciting to share with you. It may look like that was a quick jump cut and the baby is sleeping now, and that is true, but it has actually been like 5 hours. Maybe not that long, a couple of hours, because I put the baby to bed for her nap. I tried to record the podcast this morning, and she woke up after 15 minutes crying her eyes out because she's teething. So I did not get to record anything, and there's absolutely no recording a podcast when she's around because she cannot be trusted around these lights and power cords, etc. So she just went to sleep for her second nap of the day. I'm fingers crossed hoping she'll sleep at least an hour so we can get this podcast rolling. But we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully I have time to talk to you because I am so thrilled. And maybe you notice why I am thrilled. I have a pattern release for you. This is a secret project that I have been working on for months. Months, I tell you. If you've been around for a while, you know that a few months ago I was working on the secret project and I couldn't show it to you. And I kept saying, I'm spending all my time on the secret project. That's because I was making this. And then I had to write the pattern, which I have never worked so hard on a pattern in my entire life. And this is the first cardigan pattern that I have designed from start to finish as well. So that was very intense. And then I wanted to get it out to testers. This has been tested in almost every single size and tech edited. And it's here. It's finally here. The release date is here while you're watching this video. Today is the release date, Saturday, November 6th, I think. So what is this? This is the Granny Stripe cardigan. It is a wearable blanket, but fashion. And it is specifically designed to use all of the minis that I know you have been collecting, whether that's an advent calendar minis, random minis, where you have scraps of sock yarn you want to use. Now this would be beautiful in a tonal yarn as well, a solid yarn the whole way across. If you want it in a single color, it would be perfect for that. But I wanted to design an actual wearable thing, not just a shawl, that uses up minis. So I made this Granny Stripe cardigan, my version. It's a one of a kind, using minis from 2 advent calendars, one from the Homespun House and one from 5 Borough Yarns, both of which I got a year and 2 years ago, respectively, and a few random minis that I had in my stash lying around. So you can't replicate this exactly unless you have those exact advent calendars, but that's the point, right? Like this will make you a unique, one of a kind garment that nobody else will have because only you have the minis that you have. So I want to show you, I'm going to stand up, but I know I can't get it all in frame. So I'm going to show you some photos as well. So this is the Granny Stripe cardigan. It's boxy, it's open front, doesn't have any closures. We've got it converging in the back. See these strings hanging off my butt? It's pretty long. It goes to right below my butt. That's how I designed it. We have this whole cardigan and it has a little trim all around the sleeves and around the edge and this is worked in the granny stitch. Now the construction is a little bit unique because I was using minis. I wanted it to kind of converge in the middle. So you can see that these two panels match up exactly, as do the back panels, and they meet in the middle. That's because you work this in 2 identical panels from the outside in. Now, of course, you can work this in a solid color, speckled, tonal kind of yarn, but if you're using minis, I've listed in the pattern how you can arrange your minis in a fade to use every possible inch of those minis, first of all, because the yardage on them varies wildly, and how to get each panel to look exactly the same. And so you make it in 2 panels, and then you do some seaming under the arms and up the back before you add the collar. There's collar modifications as well. You can keep going in the round to make this kind of a more shawl collar type. So that's exciting to me. And so basically I used minis for the entire thing, and I used a 100-gram coordinating skein that came with the Homespun House advent calendar to do the border. I'm all water break. So this is what it looks like. It's me. Look, we're the same person, but this is me from months ago. So this is what it looks like. And let me scroll to some more photos. There you go. This is a close-up of the converging pattern. And that's kind of what it looks like. So it's boxy. This has been graded. I have graded this pattern into 11 sizes, from a 30-inch bust to fit a 30-inch bust, all the way up to a 70-inch bust. This pattern includes lots of positive ease. So that is actually built in. This is not one of those patterns that like, oh, I graded it to a 48-inch bust, but it has 20 inches of positive ease, so it will fit you if you have a 68-inch bust. No. The 70-inch bust has just as much positive ease as the smallest size. And there are modifications in the pattern. There's a whole page of modifications for you to get the fit that works best for you. The armhole can be adjusted. The width can be adjusted. So like you can see this is pretty wide panel because I want it that wide. Like this is so my style, this boxy style. But let's say you didn't want it this wide. You would want it kind of close up, more like that. You could totally make it like that. I have modifications in the pattern. This is a very long cardigan. You could make it shorter. You could make it cropped. You can do all kinds of things. The only thing I will say is if you have very narrow shoulders, you may need to either take out a row or 2 from the back neck section or do a few more rounds of the collar because the weight of the yarn, it is kind of a heavier garment because it's so big, may pull it off of your shoulders. If you have wide shoulders, this will not be a problem at all. But if you have narrow shoulders, there's a couple of fixes you can do for that. If you have medium average shoulders, I guess that's kind of what I have, this should sit perfectly fine on your shoulders with no problem. I also want to show you a couple of things in the pattern. This is the shape. You can see we have a schematic with all of the measurements. It is a pet peeve of mine when patterns do not have schematics. Ooh, there's nothing that like irritates me more, especially on a garment pattern. I need more than just the bust measurement. You can see I've got this right here. That is construction. I have diagrams on how to seam, how to construct it. And the other thing I want to show you, it has, of course, my row and stitch counter, but I have coloring sheets, this one and this one, because if you're doing a minis fade, I want you to be able to plan how your yarn looks together. So you can either color it in, or you can take scraps of your yarn and kind of tape them together to see how it will go. So that was something that was really exciting to me to do. This is like, I have been working so hard on this. It has literally been killing me to not talk about it. I have never kept a project a secret like this before, but I thought I wanted to keep it a secret for 2 reasons. One, it's advent calendar season, and I thought this would be perfect as a surprise release in November, and I have hit my goal, which I could not be more excited about. It's the first episode in November of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast, and this pattern is coming to you in the world. So that's the first reason. I wanted it to be a surprise for that. The other reason is I cannot believe this doesn't exist. At least in my searching, I have not found something that looks exactly like this. I have found cardigans that go this way with the granny stitch, but nothing like an actual wearable blanket. And I wanted to make something like this. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't exist? What? So I had to design it myself. And I truly have never worked so hard on a pattern. I used bunches of minis. Now I will say, if you want to use your advent calendar to make a mini. Depending on what size and pattern you make, because this is a larger cardigan, you will need more than one calendar's worth of advent minis. However, I would recommend waiting until the end of your advent anyways, or at least opening them all so you can do some color planning if you want to have a fade. As I said, I faded 2 advent calendars together so to get this. So you may want to know, why are there all these strings hanging on the inside? Like, isn't this a finished object? Yes and no. Yes, because I made the medium size because I needed to finish this sample and write the pattern so that I could give my testers a long time to finish it. But I, first of all, changed something on the neck construction while I was making this. So I am minus a row on each side that should be here. And second of all, I need a large for myself because this hits me right here, and that may be exactly where you want it to hit on your body, but I would prefer to have another inch or inch and a half here so it hits right in my elbow crease. That's what would be most comfortable for me. But I wanted you to see it in its pristine glory before I rip out this collar and add a few more rows. So what I'm gonna have to do actually is take the collar out and unseam the back, take out the back neck rows, and then add a few full length rows, probably 3 or 4 on each side to get it to where I want it to be and make it the large size. But I made the medium because I was on a deadline. So that's why all the ends are not woven in because I'm going to unpick the back seam and then weave them in. But I wanted you to see it first before I undo it. It's going to look very, very similar when I add a few rows. I just probably this much more, another inch. I've got to look and see what mini I have left that I can make work perfectly in there. So yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I have fuzz in my eye. Attractive, me just rubbing my eye on screen. I'm just beyond excited and thrilled. My testers, I had this tested, as I said, in almost every single size. Pretty much across the board, the feedback was great. And it's lightweight, so it's made of fingering weight yarn, so you can wear it anywhere in any season. I would love to regrade this pattern to use DK weight yarn. Now there's a modification option in the pattern if you don't mind doing math where you can use DK weight yarn. However, I would like to actually have a separate pattern option for a DK weight yarn, but I don't have any DK weight yarn enough to make this. So if you are a yarn dyer and you are watching this and you would like to provide yarn support for a regrade of this pattern, a DK weight version of the granny stripe cardigan, email me at thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com and maybe we can set something up. I don't think the pattern itself is going to require a lot of editing, but all of the math is going to have to be reworked out essentially. So this pattern is available for you to purchase on 2 places, and I'm excited about that too. So on Ravelry it is available, and on Payhip. This is the first pattern I have been able to upload to Payhip. My goal eventually is to have all of my patterns uploaded to Payhip so that there is an alternative to Ravelry. I just don't have the bandwidth to be able to do that to every pattern right now, but I know Ravelry is not accessible to all of you, so I have uploaded it on Payhip as well. I will leave links to both of them down below. On Payhip, it's just one price. I have not figured out how to use coupon codes or anything on Payhip yet. On Ravelry, I have a pay what works model. So what that means is I have a set price for this pattern, which is $7.50, because this pattern took so much work, y'all. It's like 18 pages long. It has schematics. It has 11 sizes. It has charts. It has construction charts, seaming charts, a row and stitch counter, a repeat chart, like an actual crochet chart for using the granny stitch. It just has just so much work went into this, but I want my patterns to be accessible for everyone as well. And I know that that amount of money is not accessible to everyone. So that's the price. If you want to pay that price, use no code. There are also 2 codes that are available called the Pay What Works 1 and Pay What Works 2, and that will reduce the price of the pattern either to $6.50 or $5.50 respectively. And I will put that information down below so you can see it. That on Ravelry will work. If Ravelry is not accessible to you and you need a lower price on the pattern, please email me because like I said, I haven't figured out Payhip coupon codes yet at all. I don't even know how to do them. I know I could just Google it, but honestly, I've got a teething baby and she has been sucked onto my face like an amoeba all day, and I just haven't had even a chance to pull my computer out. So I don't want anyone to not be able to afford to work on the pattern. So if you need a reduced price such as $6.50 or $5.50, there is no shame in that whatsoever. Please email me and I can like set that up with you separately via PayPal. I'm so excited. I'm like talking over myself. I don't even know, like, is this making sense? Am I just rambling? Am I being crazy? I don't know. I just cannot get over how much I love this pattern. So that is where it's available. You may remember, all of my minis went in this bag. I still have a bunch of minis in this bag, honestly. This is what's left of the 100-gram skein, probably 50 grams, maybe a little more. So I have some extra minis, like you can see, obviously these don't really fit the color palette. This was my swatch in a candy cane yarn. I knew that was not going to fit the color palette at all. I did a full 20-gram swatch, and then I remeasured that swatch a bunch of times, let me tell you, to make sure that everything was fine. So yeah, this bag was given to me by a lovely friend named Amanda, and I have a Claudia Crochet Luna pin on here that says best crochet mama ever. And I love that pin so much. I love that pin. So what questions do you have about the pattern? Drop them in the comments below. I will try to answer as many as I can. It's advent calendar season. I know y'all have been collecting minis because I have, for sure. This is something you can do with your minis and make it fit you. Like I said, there's so many modification options. You can change the armhole. You can change the width. You can change the length. You can change the color. And of course you can change the color and make it a unique one-of-a-kind garment for you. So the granny stripe cardigan, my first ever cardigan pattern, is officially live and out in the world. And if you are planning on making this, I just have one request for you. And that's, if Ravelry is accessible to you, like, please make a project page. If you have Instagram or Facebook, like, please share what your progress is and share the photos, because there's nothing that will help me as a designer more than, like, I'm not able to get the word out on this. You guys are. And I would love if, like, this pattern went on the Hot Right Now page on Ravelry. It would, like, blow my mind. I think maybe it will. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a really explosive pattern just because, like, who doesn't want to wear a wearable blanket? Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I am so excited about this pattern, and I hope that you are too. So if you're gonna make it, comment below. If you're a yarn dyer and you wanna talk about a DK version of this pattern, please email me, because I would love to do that. I could literally talk about this pattern all day. Do I have anything else to say about it? I don't even know. Let me just look at the pattern on my iPad really fast to make sure that I'm not missing anything I want to show you. I think we're good. I mean, I could just keep talking forever about this pattern, but there's some other things we need to cover today. So if you're excited, put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air, put your hands up in the air. Okay, I'm gonna stop. We're not at a baseball game, are we? And I would just say that it is slightly cool outside and I can finally, like, actually wear this without sweating. I have not been wearing this at all because I wanted to keep it in pristine condition for the podcast. But now it is time, even though all my ends are on the inside. And you may say, oh my gosh, I did not notice the ends in the photographs in your pattern. That's because I used hair clippies and bobby pins and pinned them up on the inside and did some magic so that you can't see them. There's no photo editing involved. I just pinned them on the inside. But I am definitely going to rip this collar out and add just a couple of rows, because then it will fit me most perfectly and be probably my favorite cardigan of all time. Okay, I know I said I was going to stop talking about this, but I can't. I do also want to point out, I know that probably no one cares what I do with the money that I make on crochet patterns, but y'all have supported me in ways that, like, I can't even describe. And so I like to share, like, what you're doing, like, that your support actually matters to me. My little tiny crochet pattern business, like, actually makes a difference in my life. The proceeds from this I'm using to get some things that we need for Nova. First of all, financially, like, we're pretty we're pretty low on resources at the moment. And I had to have some emergency dental work done. Again, I hate my teeth. That's a whole story for another day. It wasn't like an emergency. I went in to have a cavity, like a filling replaced. And when they took the filling out, they could not replace the filling because like the back half of my tooth just crumbled. So now I'm the proud owner of another temporary crown until I can get the actual one. So there was that, and then our car went in the shop as well. So y'all support, well, I'll talk about this at the end, but basically y'all support, like, Nova has so many things because of you, whether that's because you bought it off the registry and like sent it to us before she was born, such things as her clothing and her blankets and her crib mattress and the sheets and like everything, all the diapers, all the wipes. Like, she has had things, her swing, her stroller, the bouncy seat that enabled me to get a shower for like the first 6 months of her life. Every day I use that thing. All of that came because you guys care about her very much. Oh no, I'm gonna cry. Oh no, we still have yarn to talk about. So I'm gonna stop talking about this for a minute, and I'll circle back around later, because y'all know what's a start. I can't stop. Okay, let's talk. I have worked on 2 projects only. Well, this. Compiling all the tester notes and making edits and tech editing, etc. That has taken up some time, but I've only worked on 2 actual yarn projects this week. One is knitted, one is crocheted, and I made a fair amount of progress on both of them. So the first is living in my alpaca my bag, which is my favorite bag of all time because alpaca butt. This is your bi-weekly dose of alpaca butt. I know some of you love this. And what is living in here is my muscle burra hat, which is a pattern by Isolda Teague. And I am making it in, if I can find the yarn tag, Ice Yarns Kid Mohair, which is 30% mohair, 30% nylon, no, 30% acrylic and 40% nylon, in this brown, held double with the fingering weight yarn, which is by Woolberry Fiber Co. in the colorway Berry Sock. It is 80% superwash blue faced Leicester and 20% nylon in colorway Sugar Plum Fairy. So I'm holding these together to make this hat. Oh my gosh, this is where I was last time. I had just finished the increases, and look at all the progress I have made. I've just been going around and around and around on this. I love the marling effect that is creating with this held double, and the halo. Can you see that fuzzy halo? So essentially the muscle burra hat is you knit a long tube and you decrease, and then you shove one inside the other. So it's a double layer hat, and it can either be slouchy like that, or you can make a brim by folding it. This is gonna be a gift for someone. It is too hot for me to wear any kind of hat usually in Florida, let alone a double layered one with mohair. But I know someone who lives in a cold place who will probably appreciate this. So I'm very excited about that. And I think it's just beautiful in this purple. It's gotten a lot of love because I can just pick it up and go around and around, and it doesn't require any brain power. You may notice I have 2 stitch markers on here. This is the one where I recorded the last podcast episode. This one I have been moving up every single time I pick it up. So last time I picked it up, I was able to do this much. That's how much knitting I did 2 days ago. Just a couple of rounds. That's all I had time for. And I have really found that helps me, because going around and around with no tangible, like, oh, I did an inch, or oh, I did 2 rows. It's really hard for me because I don't have a lot, and by a lot, I mean any, hardly knitting or crochet time. And so this gives me actual tangible progress. I can be like, oh, I have made, let's see, 5 rounds I knit on this 2 days ago. And that like makes me feel accomplished. So one night I actually did like this much. So I'm moving this stitch marker up every single time I pick this hat up. And of course, after podcasting, I'm gonna move this one up to here and start the process over again. I think I'm at about 11, 12 inches. And I think I need to get to like 16 inches before the decreases start. So like I'm getting pretty done with this. It's kind of amazing. And the pattern is delightful. It has so many any gauge, like you can make this in a lace weight gauge all the way up to like a worsted weight gauge. And that's my muscle burra hat, which I am really, really enjoying working on. I wanted to make one of those for a long time. Once this one's finished, I actually have another one that's going to be very similar to that. I want to make two. I don't think these will be for Christmas presents because who knows if I'll get them done in time, but they will be gifts eventually. So that's my knitting pattern that I've worked on. The crochet one that I've worked on is my Omega blanket. And I'm kind of irritated actually because I thought I was going to be done with this. I've just had so little crochet time this past week. It is living in my today's goal, keep the tiny human alive bag that came from my dear friend Amy. Let me tell you, that is today's goal because she is teething. Teething baby. Oh my God. We've got the Tylenol, we've got all the things. She is having a hard day. And today my goal is keep her alive and let her know I love her and we're gonna survive together. Babies, y'all. I have made a huge amount of progress on this. I really thought I was gonna be like done with the body of this and onto the border by now. I am not. I still have like 20, possibly 25 more rows. I've made a huge amount of progress though. So this is the Omega blanket, which is so named because it has all of these O's. It is a pattern that I am working on. I have not written up the pattern yet because I'm not done with the staple yet. This is where I was last time. So I have done all of this. And that's quite a lot. Like blanket rows take a long time, even on a baby blanket. So all of this I have done. This tea bag stitch marker, that's where I did all of this, I think, in one night. That was the last time I touched this. It was probably Sunday, so 4 or 5 days ago. I need to get, I think for this size, to like 130 rows, 132 rows. This is 90, so I'm probably at 100 by now for 8, 12. I might be at 105 rows. So I need to keep trucking. I've got 2.5 skeins of yarn left. This is Valley Yarns Haydenville, which is a 60% merino, 40% acrylic yarn that you can get from Webs, including their Webs discount. So basically, once this body is done, then I have the border to do. Fingers crossed I did my math right and I'm not gonna run out of yarn. And this is the one project I've just been kind of really obsessed with recently. We'll see if it gets any love tonight or if I'll just be knitting because, again, teething baby. This one requires a little bit of focus and I may not have that tonight. Who knows? And that's it. That's all the yarn I have worked on. Crazy, I know. Only 2 projects, but they have been getting a lot of love. And of course, this has taken up quite a bit of my time as well. I don't have any happy mail. I don't have any other announcements. I'm just going to chat for a minute. And let's see, we're at 25 minutes already. I have probably a little bit more time and then I have to, I feel like the baby's gonna wake up any second. I'm like nervous about that because she woke up this morning and is just in tears, just weeping. It was so sad. So let's see how far I can make it into this conversation without completely bawling my eyes out in a good way. As I was saying before, when I was like, oh no, we have to pause. Y'all's support has been indescribable to me. Like, just being in this community to begin with is a privilege and a pleasure for me. But the way that all of you have shown up in my life multiple times on multiple occasions blows me away. And like I said, like Nova has, many of the things that Nova has is because of you, because of people who are watching this podcast and wanted to support us having a little baby. Like, truthfully, when I say that much of the things that she uses all the time came from you, that is very true. I had a baby shower, of course, with like friends and my family. And that was really delightful. But like things like the crib mattress, that came from someone who watches this podcast. Things like the bouncy seat that I talked about, like her little bowl, her little suction bowl that she uses every single day in her high chair for that matter. Just so many things. The car seat, like all of it. And she uses all of these things constantly. And it is I don't take for granted what a privilege it is to be able to give her those things because of you. And so the money that I'm using, I need to buy her a couple of things that will probably be expensive because she's growing, and that's what I'm using pattern sales from this cardigan for. So to support the baby. But last episode, I talked kind of in detail about an issue that I've been having since she was born for almost 11 months now, with some granulation tissue that was removed, and how I needed to go see a pelvic floor physical therapist, but there's not one that my insurance covers who's in network. So it's basically not covered. And they only approve a couple of sessions anyways, even if it were covered. And I asked for help, and truthfully, I'm like flabbergasted. I don't know what I was expecting, but certainly not the level of support that I received. I'm gonna cry. I believe that I've said thank you to everyone who donated on coffee, or like bought a coffee for the podcast, essentially. And I tried really hard to write an email to every single person who did that. Or if I had your phone number, a text message. Coffee doesn't give me any of your information. It gives me only the name that you put in. But when it came through into my PayPal account, it attached an email address. So I tried to respond to every single one of those, and hopefully that's okay. Hopefully it wasn't like you were trying to keep your information private. But if I somehow missed you and you didn't get a personal thank you from me, I'm so sorry. Like, I tried really hard to keep track. I think I definitely thanked one person more than once. I think you got 2 thank yous from me, so I'm sorry about that. I got confused as to who I had said thank you to. But the fact that so many of you use your own resources to help me, a person on the internet who just talks to a camera, get some medical care, truly, like, I don't feel like thank you is good enough for that. Like, is there a word that means thank you that's bigger than thank you? Because that's what I mean. That you would use your own money, your own resources to help me. Just, I can't even describe how that makes me feel. Overwhelmed in the best way possible. Thank you. Like, truly, from the bottom of my heart, or maybe I should say from the bottom of my pelvis. That's a bad joke. Thank you for that. I did get several communications from people saying that if there was no one in network, that insurance could possibly approve someone who's out of network, but you have to go through this whole process. I didn't know that. So that's good to know. I thought about this very deeply. Is it worth it to go through that process and try to get insurance to approve it? And normally I would say, yeah, the answer is yes, if there's a chance that they would approve it. But there is a person local to me, she's only like 6 miles away, who's a pelvic floor physical therapist, who at least 12 moms in my local moms group recommended and said that she had done amazing things for them. And she is a private pay person. She doesn't take insurance of any kind, no matter what. And so I really wrestled with this. Like, do I go see her and skip the insurance portion, or do I, and basically know that the problem will be resolved? Or do I try to find someone who isn't as recommended, but that possibly insurance would cover so that the money will go further? I really had a hard time with that. But what I decided is I actually called this doctor. I set up a phone consultation with her, and she was fabulous. I don't know why I'm crying about the fact that she's fabulous, but she was really, really great. She made me feel very comfortable. And I talked to more than one, and she definitely was the best. Like, she seemed like the best, just like all of the moms recommended. So I have an appointment scheduled. It's not for another I think it's November 19th because she could have seen me earlier, but Friday morning is the only day of the week I have any childcare, and I can't imagine trying to drag Nova to a appointment like that. Also, the initial appointment is 90 minutes. That's quite a long time. So I can't imagine trying to wrangle Nova while someone's like poking around down there, if you know what I mean. So that's the day that could work for me. And I mean, honestly, it's been almost 11 months. What's another 2 weeks? But I have an appointment scheduled with her. And because, I don't even know how to say this. What you have enabled me to do, whether you donated a coffee or you purchased a pattern. And I kept getting dings like all day long on Saturday and Sunday 2 weeks ago from people who were purchasing patterns as well. Thank you so much if you bought one of my patterns. Like, I appreciate that on such a deep level, because altogether, at least I think, if my calculations are correct, I should be able to get the initial evaluation with her and 3 or 4 possibly additional sessions. And I told her that up front. I said, this is how much I have. So I think that's 3 or 4 sessions with you. So if we can at all possible, if it's possible for us to resolve this issue in that amount of time, like, that's all I have. And she said, we'll do our best, essentially. She obviously hasn't seen me or met me in person, so she can't guarantee anything. I'm hopeful that we can resolve it in that amount of sessions. And she said that she does offer payment plans for if it needs to be more than that. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm so emotional about it because it's so meaningful to me. Like, the thought that maybe I could just not have pain there is kind of incredible. And I'll tell you, because I'm pretty honest and transparent about how, my anxiety works and my brain works. What I wanted to say in every single thank you note was, you didn't have to do that. Because my brain's like, in the back of my mind somewhere, it's like, they didn't have to. Y'all know you didn't have to do that. I didn't say that to a single person. I just said, thank you so much. That's really meaningful to me. Because if you didn't want to do it, you wouldn't have done it. So there's that. And then the other thing that my brain has been telling me is, well, Josiah and I want to have, Josiah's my husband, my partner, if you don't know that. We would like to have one more child. Who knows, honestly, because it took us 3 years and a miscarriage to get Nova. So who knows how long or even if it's possible. But my brain, oh goodness, my brain is like, why would you're going to get this issue fixed. And then what if you have another kid and you have the same issue? Like, is it even worth getting it fixed? Because you're just going to be all messed up anyways if you have a second child. And what a bunch of crap that is. Like, I know our brains give us a hard time about things, but dang, I have had to really actively resist that thought of, yeah, maybe there will be an issue if or when we have a second baby. And then hopefully I'll be able to get treatment for that. Just because something might happen in the future, negatively, medically down there, does not mean that I should live with pain now. So that's what I've been telling myself. And truly, I'm just overwhelmed. And I don't know what to say other than thank you. And you are making a tangible difference in my life by being here, by watching, by commenting, by interacting with me, by your support of my patterns when I release them, and to everyone who either bought a pattern last time or donated. You're making it possible for me not just to be evaluated, but to most likely have this issue resolved. And that was not possible before. So that's really, really special to me. And I don't know what to say other than thank you. And I really, really mean that. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. My nose is running now. And my voice is like 10 pitches higher because I'm trying to like hold in the tears. So I feel like I had so many things to say in this episode, and I don't know if I got them all out. I don't even know if this episode makes sense because I started it and then the baby was sobbing 10 minutes later. So we've started over in the afternoon. I don't even know if I'm gonna have time to edit this tonight, but it will be out on Saturday, mark my words. So I just, all of those drama and emotions, and I appreciate you. This is a virtual hug, shoving it through the screen. If you're gonna make the granny stripe cardigan, I would love it if you commented below and just told me you were gonna make it and let me know like what colors you're gonna make it in, because I truly have never ever been so excited about a pattern in my life. And I will keep you updated as to the down there situation as it progresses. I have my first appointment in a couple of weeks, so that's exciting. Yeah, I gotta stop. I gotta stop talking because I'm just talking in circles, I'm pretty sure. So without further ado and emotions, I will say thank you again, times infinity. And this little sweet sleeping baby let me record a whole podcast episode, so I'm very thankful about that too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. And I don't know what I'd do without you. So until I see you again, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy crafting. Please be kind to yourself, and I will see you then. Bye, friends. Stay tuned for me trying to calm Nova down before when I was recording. My baby lies over the ocean. My baby lies over the sea. My baby lies over the ocean. Please bring back my baby to me. Bring back, bring back, bring back my baby to me, to me. Bring back, bring back, bring back my baby to me.